will start off with our blue Zerg player. From Onside Gaming, it is going to be Solar. This is an exciting match. I think this is one that can really be quite lively, be quite fun. Definitely maybe see a couple of longer games, given the fact it's TVZ and just the way these two like to play in general. Is in the top left. Our red Zerg, our red Terran player is going to be Shopify Rebellion's ByuN. Alright, well, ByuN is not messing around. He has maybe like, well, maybe some longer games would be nice, and that'd be great. And this is ByuN's map pick as well, by the way, so kind of shocked to see him picking Armistice and actually just proxy raxing. I actually thought this was a pretty decent map for Terran in general. Solar is going to see it almost immediately, by the way, so instant scout. Yep, okay, I was going to say, like, is it not going to show up? Hello? So just going to see that Overlord coming through to scout, and we'll see this couple of racks on here. Wall off in the center. Yeah, maybe a bit too late to actually go and bring, drones against this or so, but is going to be able to still at least know about it, and obviously start his preparations a little sooner than he would have done otherwise. ByuN says this bridge fits the T-Rex perfect. Ian Solar says that's disgusting. Yeah, nice. Obviously, it's nice because obviously what happens is if you want to deny, even if you see it early and you pull drones, the SCVs, if they go to the other side, it's going to be really hard for the drones to loop around to deny it. Crank translating, some fun banter between the two as the drones will pull initially, and now down to business, I imagine. As this is going to be the drones having to pull away a little bit against those Marines, and we will try and get a bunker down. It's Reapers on the follow-up, by the way, so not going to continue with Marines. Just these first couple of Marines, and Solar has 10 Lings on the way. The thing is, Lings will not trade too well against the Reapers, as the Marines will just try and fend this off. There shouldn't be a world where these bunkers get up. There is our first Reaper here available as well. The bunker is going to just be fully targeted, makes sense. ByuN's just going to say, cool, I will kill as many units as I can right now, and especially if he's just losing the Marines, because he's obviously going to be mostly focused on the Reapers. Losing a Marine or two to be able to get rid of a couple extra Lings will only help him out, and I think Solar is in some genuine trouble right now. Oh, we do lose one Reaper, the Queen from the top side helping out there, so one Reaper lost. That's a big victory from Solar. He needed something to slow down this pressure of ByuN, as ByuN is already expanding on location back at home. He's going to build 4 Reapers in total, obviously lost one, so we'll have 3 on the map. As this last one will be finished, and I imagine that other barracks will start to fly on home. And he's just going to keep the pressure up, hitting this Queen a little bit, try and stop the creep spread getting out, and most importantly right now, he's going to be slowing down the third base of Solar from starting, because he has the map control to stop a drone getting into position easily. So that or just dive into the main base and try and get rid of some drones. He's going to get rid of one. He'll probably lose one of these Reapers unless the grenade is very good, which honestly it was. It zoned the Queen perfectly. Still no third hatch yet from Solar, but yeah, drone going down is obviously pretty painful, and obviously it's just everything is quite nice here from ByuN. I like it a lot. And he's going to go triple CC even, so 1 on location, 1 in the main. That is kind of close to being spotted by an Overlord, so that's something we'll check on in a moment, if Solar can maybe grab that information or not. A couple grenades here as you just try and get the most out of this position. And now ByuN going to back it up with these Reapers, but again, he's controlling so much of the map. There's the drone attempting to get out, or at least thinking of getting out. It is going to get away to the left-hand side. That third hatchery can now begin. That is something of a relief from Solar, because, yeah, it's just not fun having to deal with that. As we're going to dive for the creep tumor. Love that. I mean, that's energy on the Queens now going down. Slows down the creep a bit. Slows down the connection between the natural and the third. ByuN loses a Reaper for it, but yeah, maybe not losing a Reaper worthy, but still at least getting something out of it. It's not like this Reaper went down for no reason at all. Impact will begin, just having our bunker in production here as well on the side of ByuN. So just getting that up. And yeah, just getting our defenses ready in the natural, basically, as the Overlord will press forward. Just hanging out on the left-hand side. A couple of engineering bays still being brought into place. Stimpack is starting as well. And yeah, as the couple of engineering bays will finish, we'll be able to get into our 1-1 upgrades. I mean, again, you just look at all the points of this game. All of the tech and structures and stuff does feel way better for ByuN. The drone count, at least, is very good from Solar. Obviously, his third hatch just now finishing, so you can really utilize more than the 44 drones. So yeah, I mean, his worker count is definitely the strong part. ByuN has 3 CCs, so he has got triple mule, and he is going to be able to keep up with his own strong SCV production from this point on as well. So it's not like that's just an issue that isn't going to have something of a response for it. And there's 1-1 upgrades coming in. The stim pack going to be soon to finish. And the SCV is just coming forward, building up a couple of depots on the front lines. Obviously, with the Hellions out, you continue to maintain map control here. ByuN would love to keep pushing back as much creep as possible. Stop control of this map going the way of Solar in any which way. Now we come around this right-hand side and just going to start moving forward. A little bit of creep spread going down. Just going to be having our Hellions still hanging out on the far right. ByuN Nest all being brought up. Melee upgrades coming through as well. And ByuN Nest is not far from finishing. The lair is not far from being done. And that's going to be Solar's kind of tech choices early. I mean, you can see the upgrades will be in ByuN's favor. I think the main thing as well, because the lair's late, is the ByuN Nest is going to feel very late. So the ByuN speed is going to be very late. There's definitely a time in here where ByuN is going to be able to be more aggressive than usual with his Marines and Medivacs because the ByuN speed just isn't there, and he has a 1-1 upgrade. The combination of those two things is great, and on a short map like Armistice, you can actually get across very quickly, so this is going to come into play very quickly, and these Queens on their own, 1, 2, and probably 3. I mean, it's walking off creep to try and find safety. There's a lot of ByuNs at least, which is going to make it tough for ByuN. He can't target down all of those, but the triple Queen getting some creep tumors, that already is a great start. And ByuN will be very happy with it. He left his Hellions back at home, actually, in case of a counterattack, but yeah, obviously that never came. He gets these 2 creep tumors again, so just repeatedly denying the continued advancement of creep up the left side of the map. Obviously, he takes his base on the left side because he's going to choose to expand towards his opponent, so he can keep this push avenue going basically throughout the entirety of the game. ByuN knows he wants to just right now keep up the pressure and never let it go. I mean, how many racks are we going to play into? We're on 5 right now. I would not be surprised if this was a game where we went to 8 racks, although we actually do just start up an additional factory. This is also only 6 bases per player, so it's also like... It's a great pushing map for a Terran, but it's also a great map to play a longer game on, because obviously in the longer game, the Zerg doesn't have endless amounts of bases to expand to, and endless amount of bases to just pick up economy on. So yeah, the Terran doesn't mind playing a later game situation here either, I imagine. As ByuN just playing with the edge of creep, knows he has the lifts into those Medivacs if required, leaving the Hellbats to soak up some of the damage, forcing some inefficient trades, and once again just having a fantastic little time here. So ByuN having a good go of it so far. Having a good set of trades and just really putting himself in great spots. I don't think Solar's... I feel like I'm being almost biased in my cast towards ByuN's position, but I just like ByuN's position a lot. I just feel as though Solar's not even, like, out of the game. It just feels like it's set up well for ByuN, I suppose, right? This Queen having some definite issues with the pathing here. That Queen was definitely clicked to the right side and went through the top side because it was closer to the bridge and it was closer to the bottom, right? So that's a little pathing issue that just went on. That's maybe something to think about in this map as it's kind of split down the middle and only connected by those bridges. That might happen quite a bit. So one of the things to think about, just in terms of how much players will enjoy playing on it. Nobody enjoys losing because they didn't even miss. It's not even a misclick, right? They click where they want the units to go to. It's just the pathing messes you up, right? So I think Bane Hydra will be back down the bottom. Just going to start picking through the rocks here, opening up this area as well. There is a drop from ByuN into the main base as well. That drop is just going to be a few Marines that will get a Hydra or two, actually, that came to respond. Lifting up, going to the corner, pretty much running out of Marines on that drop at the moment, as we do see Solar and towards Lurkers. ByuN with the extra command center. Oh, good target fire on the Balance here, but now time to lift and get out. Yeah, good micro from ByuN, good harassment, but he is absolutely setting up for the later game as well. He knows where Solar's heading to. He knows where he wants to head to. Like I say, this map, 6 bases per player, does not bode well for a Zerg in a long game. because a Terran can more or less camp out 5 bases and just not let you take their, the Terran 6. And then the Terran's like, okay, cool. You have 6 bases, I'll have 5. Eventually, I'll take my 6 late in the game. And there's very little ways that Zerg can trade efficiently enough to make that work. So Solar kind of has to bust through ByuN early and effectively. Widow Mine does go off. The one Widow Mine that I saw burrowing actually got denied, but another one mixed in there does manage to connect. And you can see ByuN has the choke point here as well to stop Solar getting across the map. Where is a Zerg meant to fight on this map, actually? Like, I feel like this is one of the longer games we're seeing on Armistice, and I think maybe even the first TVC, because right now I'm looking at this and I'm like, where are you actually meant to engage as the Zerg? Everywhere is choked up. It's difficult to set up flanking surrounds because of the layout, I guess. It's not impossible, but definitely tougher in certain positions, definitely. Yeah, and obviously the size of the map doesn't aid in that either, as ByuN dropping the bottom left is likely to find that base over there. It's likely going to be an easy pick-off for him. Onto just the edge of creep one more time, as we will come forward and try to trade just a little bit here. I guess going to be seeing our Widow Mines going off, hitting a few of these banelings, slowing that down as best as possible. So doing decently. There's dropping the bottom left while that base has already gone down, and now going to send it elsewhere, denying the creep on the left-hand side in general. So we've seen a couple of lag spikes here, guys. I'm not sure what exactly that is. I think it's just my FPS struggling. There's more creep gets taken on the map. Might be some just slight issues FPS on the map, and just kind of can't think of the word. Performance issues is sometimes a thing that cleanup usually happens. It gets cleaned up more before these maps make ladder usually. So yeah, it's sometimes an issue, but I think that's what it is. I don't think it's actually like internet spikes. So Bioforce coming into the center here. A few more creep tumors are being taken down pretty much straight away as well, as that Bio army now turns onto a set of rocks. Just going to be seeing our Lings all running forwards. Bio, probably has to live to get out of here. Got to be careful. The Vipers have A, abducts into the Hydras, and B, parasitic bombs could also be pretty deadly to those medevacs. As ByuN losing a lot of supply, leading into this defense now on his bases. And is Solar able to do well? Again, I feel like the defensive position here is very good for ByuN. I feel like it's going to be tough for Solar to press the issue. The Widow Mine drop is going to be spotted. It doesn't even get much. We already had 11 drones going down over here, though, so it was somewhat successful. As ByuN finds some damage, at least, in Solar. As again, just unable to really punish ByuN as he has him pushed back. Unable to really get much done at all. We're going to see a few medevacs splitting away one side. The rest of the Bioforce back up through the center. Just feels like such a tough map to take fights on right now as our Zerg player. More lurkers on the way through then, so we will see Solar again continue to double down on the lurkers, which obviously just makes sense. ByuN didn't miss any time getting away there. I think he knows that straight up the Vipers are very dangerous when his medevacs are low HP, so he'd rather just give up a few units than perhaps losing all of them. He's now pushing the right, and the lurker's not immediately in position. We didn't have the scan though, so the initial snipes still don't go down. I think ByuN wasn't quite ready for exactly what was going on there. And now ByuN is going to have to go retreating away. This might be another lift and get the crap out of there moment, because, oh my god, the Banelings are catching. There's a few units to the back. At least those are splitting up, not allowing too much splash. Solar on a good push here. He's going to have to deal with the Planetary Fortress, however. That's going to be another aid in the defense of ByuN, as ByuN has got the top right base trying to come online as well. So I think just had a single Zergling there that was blocking it or attacking it, forcing the lift off, but ByuN would love to just get that 5th established as he relocates a couple of the orbitals. And Solar is fully on his 6 bases. Let's look at resources lost for a moment. It's really not that bad. Nidus in the main base going completely unchecked, and ByuN, that's a game-losing move. Not dealing with the Nidus lurkers in the main will be devastating on top of all of the production. He turns right now. He starts to move. A couple lurkers coming out. We will kill the Nidus at least. He will now scan, but we're not going to have enough to kill the lurkers just yet. Ghost on the way. Okay, this is a manageable amount of lurkers at least, but it is going to pull ByuN away, and it's going to probably lose him the top right base. Try and snipe. Oh, the lurkers are just cancelling all of the snipes. It's chaos for ByuN. He's completely losing control of this game. It is getting completely out of his hands. Planetary Fortress going down. The few SCVs being picked away at. And this Bio army continuing to press forward. The army of Solar escaping out down the right side. It's done the damage. Even the Nidus itself wasn't the actual killing move, but it was actually very good at still causing a lot of other things to happen at the same time. And I will stand by saying it's almost a game-losing move to let it up, because again, it kind of had that knock-on effect of everything else just moments afterward. Well, Solar comes around to the left here with a bit of Ling Bane, and will be looking to go after... Well, this left-hand side, Planetary 4 is not morphed in yet. If that forward Planetary goes up, that would be disgusting. As Solo needs to deal with the Widow Mines. They're not going to do too much just yet. A lot of the Lurkers were almost too soon in my eyes. The Lurkers might be able to push up and get really in control of this choke point, in which case ByuN is not going to have a good time trying to fight those off at all. In fact, that's going to be quite a miserable affair for him, as these Lurkers will have full control of this base. Obviously, top right denied. ByuN's not in a position to deal with this. He doesn't have the full eco setup. He doesn't have a bank setup. He doesn't quite have the army which he's looking for either, as Solar is going to get the GG out of ByuN. Game 1 is going to go the way of Solar. Top right corner of the map, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. Down a game in a best of 5. See how he handles Starchild. No proxy this time, as in the bottom left. Our blue Zerg Solar. I really felt like just took very good trades. Early in the game, I really liked where ByuN was setting up. I felt like the bases were down. I felt like the map was good for him. I felt like everything was good for ByuN overall, but he just wasn't able to take good trades. And that's obviously big credit to Solar. He was able to take the fights in such a way to keep the efficiency not really going out of control at all. In fact, being equal on efficiency that late into the game is a massive win for a Zerg player. So, yeah, credit to Solar. He played a fantastic game on Armistice, and we'll see how he does here on Starchild. Few moments of setting up. We'll drop down a barracks. This is obviously a CC first from ByuN, so with the command center first, a little bit more focus on the economy in the early game, and just saying that, hey, I can get away with it, right? And if you can get away with it, then yeah, go for it. CC first is great. The only thing that really hard counters a CC first is like a very preemptive roach attack. Not even one which you scout the CC first, then you go roaches. But more so like I was going roaches from the start. I opened gas pool hatch. That is when you lose with the CC first. It's very, very rare that it happens. Unless you become too predictable at doing it. In this case, ByuN's going to go double racks, which maybe would leave him more open to roach attacks in general, because he wouldn't have like a factory unit to help him out there, but he would have a lot of marines, so you could argue that point with good bunker coverage, he'd probably still be fine. It's going to see a couple queens on the way up. Reactor Tech Labs. This is going to be a CC first, essentially 2-1-1. We should be seeing a factory fairly soon. Start stim initially, we'll go factory after. We can go from there with a little bit of aggression, obviously. So it's big economy into this big attack. ByuN was a massive fan of this 2-1-1 way back when. This is a very powerful version of it. A factory coming through, and Marines just patrolling off on the sides, a couple SCVs, a few Marines all coming into play, and just going to be seeing our Ling Speed is setting up on the side of Solar. So Ling Speed coming through, the Hatchery coming up. Get this going. Is that true? Wasn't 2-1-1 popular before ByuN? 2-1-1 became popular in 2015, which was the year ByuN was rising. He was huge with 2-1-1. I mean, ByuN won the BlizzCon with 2-1-1 was at the heart and soul of it. 2-1-1 and Reapers. Yeah, 2-on-1. The first time I recall seeing 2-on-1 a lot was back in a home story qualifier in 2015. And I remember it well because it was when I was first going full-time in casting with StarCraft 2. So yeah, around 2015. It was like a couple months after Legacy of the Void, people just kind of figured out that this was a timing they could do with the new economy, with the 12 workers. Rotron coming up, about halfway done here. Combat Shields is on the way. As you see, ByuN setting up into this. Like I say, I mean, at this point, 17 Marines, 2 Medivacs about to pop. He can head across the map very soon. He's going to stop to kill this Overlord at first. Just really waiting on these Medivacs. This Rotron is about to be done from solo. He doesn't have money to build a lot of Roaches straight away, so it's going to be a lot about the Lings initially out of solar and then going from there. Things obviously have to be a pretty critical part of this at first, though, as we just have a couple Medivacs making their way across. And yeah, Sporkroll in the corner too wants to really make sure he's going to be alright with this defense. Doesn't want to get this out of hand. And ByuN is heading exactly to where that Sporkroller is, by the way. I mean, great awareness of where ByuN might go with this from solo, because that Spore was placed pretty much perfectly, right? That's exactly where you wanted it to be. Power of the 2-1-1 off of a CC first is you actually have a pretty strong follow-up with more Marines coming in very quickly. And Combat Shield, as you can see, is going to finish very quickly as well, so it's not even so much about this first push. It would be about the follow-up, perhaps. Obviously, that would have been weakened heavily if the Medivac had gone down. But for the moment, it survived. CC into the main. Roach speed, carapace, both on the way out at the moment here. And a few Roaches just trickling on forward across the map. Solar has got a few Lings running around the far right-hand side as well. Kind of expected this phase of this attack to be already kind of going. We never really got any more Medivacs, though, which I'm kind of surprised about. I thought there'd be a third and fourth Medivac at some stage. I mean, this push is still kind of scary, but there's not a lot of retreat potential because you've just not got enough Medivacs to lift up everything and get out of trouble. So it's important that ByuN doesn't overstay his welcome / pick a fight he can't win, because a lot of the time Terrans do that because they're like, oh, I can just lift and get away if I run into trouble. In this case, that's not really true. I mean, that's definitely a choice at this point. He's just purposely not building additional Medivacs for quite some time. Trying to get in position somewhere. There's no fourth base up and running. With Roaches out, it's very possible that Solar does just overwhelm this force if ByuN sets up anywhere. So the best case for ByuN might just be backing away. Look at the worker counts, for example. Solar's not being crazy on drones. It's not like he's rushing up to 75 or 80. He's not rushing out of fourth base. There's not really anything from Solar that says, hey, you should actually try and take advantage right now. You should actually come and punish me. Solar's playing a very slow-going game with the Roaches. And because of that, I think ByuN is very smart to identify that there's not really a situation here for him to take advantage of, and to instead just kind of slowly pick away at a bit of creep spread instead. He's really unsure. He's like, where is the fourth base? Well, yeah, like I say, it's just a lot of Roaches from Solar, and the timing might actually kill ByuN if ByuN is still out on the map. But I feel like he's starting to figure out some things up, but he's not quite fully onto it just yet. Well, that was a instant pick on a Roach or two, but that's about it, as we do see ByuN definitely now seeing what's up. I really believe it's just time to get away from here. He defends the counterattack. The Lings do not get into the natural. And Solar is having +1 carapace. He is tacking up Baneling Nest, Infestation Pit, and more drones. This is not a 1-1 Roach timing. It definitely has the potential to go poke forward and to see what you can perhaps do. I think ByuN should be okay defensively. I think he's right to also just get off the map too heavily. Like, if everything was out there and he got caught, he hadn't reinforced for a long time, probably would have been overrun. So we're going to open up the middle of the map a little bit as well. I don't think this is something we've had happen yet on Star Child, but the middle of the map here is pretty funky, especially with the couple of rocks that you have. Plus, you've got that line of sight blocker dead in the center. So, yeah, obviously changes up how that interaction and how that area works later on. Solar in general is going to knock down rocks that ByuN might try to take advantage of here. These rocks are rocks we have seen killed at certain points of other games. As Baneling Speed on its way, obviously not ready yet because we've been playing a very Roach-focused game initially. As this missiles finishes, I wonder if we go into melee upgrades. Yes, we do, because well, we're starting to play Ling Bane alongside these roaches, so makes sense. The drop along the bottom is pushed back and denied, and with all these spores coming up, Solo's pretty serious about saying, no, you're not going to get to do anything there. Not a chance. I'm not going to let you come into my base. Stay away, ByuN. Get out of here. You're not welcome today. Absolutely not. Well, another drop on the left-hand side. We'll find a few drones and a spore crawler taking a couple shots of damage as well. Lings will be quick to respond. I mean, the drop on the bottom actually did dive through the spore crawlers to get into the main base. Okay, I think this is a sacrifice from ByuN because he wants to draw units out of position because his main army is now coming through the bottom side of the map. So to me, this only makes sense with ByuN saying, I want to do this because I want to get the rest of my army in position here. He is doing just that, as we do see Solo heading into a fourth... Well, sorry, see, ByuN's heading into a fourth base. Solo's heading into the Ultra's Cavern is what was catching my eye, as we lose one tank to Biles. Another getting Biled, as there's still the medevac just stray in the main here. That's what that red dot is. Up here, we do have a few Marines that have been as active as possible. I mean, I guess the main goal of this is that Solo has been slowed down and away from a fifth base for longer than usual. So ByuN should be pretty happy about that, considering his own fourth is now coming online. Just essentially playing 4 base versus 4 base here for a little bit. So Solo, of course, having the fifth base coming online is going to help him out there. Still not a great work account from Solo, but definitely a lot of solidity in this army because of the fact he's playing these roaches. A little bit sturdier than usual, and these tanks are all still stacked up, and ByuN, initially they were getting some good shots off. Now his reinforcements showing up there, and oh my goodness. At first I was like, oh my god, ByuN, that's not good, but his tanks didn't even need a siege as he started to overwhelm here, pushing Solo back around the bottom side of the map. And ByuN will take a moment or two to reload and recharge, it seems, before we go again. Good pincer move from Solo to break that original position, but love that ByuN had his reinforcements shown up. Definitely meant Solo was a little bit less comfortable in that fight than they ever really expected to be. This is a creep here as well. Could be important moving forwards as see what the tanks can do. There's actually 4 tanks available. A 5th one not sieged up yet, but the tanks are stacked again. The corrosive files are going to go dead center on them to knock down 2 of the 5 that were there. And that's obviously going to weaken ByuN enough to apparently give up this position, unsieging, pulling away, and looking elsewhere now. Ultralisks on the way out. A good stepping stone usually in certain matchups or certain compositions in TVs. I'm not sure if Ultras were necessary here. I feel like his army was doing well enough on its own, but we'll get a couple of them up and running. I mean, they're still a nice addition to have. When you've already played Roaches, I feel like there's already so many Marauders from ByuN, right? And so if ByuN already has this amount of Marauders, are the Ultras ever going to find that kind of first wave of being like, haha, I'm forcing you to really react and change your plan? I don't think so, although good Blinding Clouds will cause these tanks to be absolutely unsuccessful in their initial defense of that position, and ByuN is going to have to lift to get out of here. This base is, these rocks are obviously still up here. That last tank does get lifted eventually as well, also saved and brought away. Well, ByuN says time to start up Ghost, then if you get into Ultras, Ghost will be my go-to. Obviously that makes a lot of sense. Ghosts are very good against Ultras, and typically part of the reason why we all kind of meme on Ultras because they kind of just die in a couple of Ghost Snipes. Well, 3 Ghost Snipes, but yeah, the Ultras are here, and Solo pressing up through the right-hand side a little bit, applying a bit of pressure in that direction, but decides he's not going to go for it. Sun's Tower from ByuN, keeping really good vision, actually, of the 2 top pathways, the top pathway and the middle pathway, and then, or the left side central pathway on the map, so that's really nice to see for that base. Means he can focus his army a bit more to the right here, and especially right now as Solo comes running in with these Ultras. Let's see what happens. A couple of snipes coming down. Blind Cloud will drop. EMP, so the tail end of the Vipers will not be able to cast anymore, but initially the Blind Cloud was good, and the CC just pretty much falls. Now ByuN kills a 5th base at the same time, so ByuN is not going to let one base die without delivering some damage himself. So job well done from ByuN's point of view, because base for a base is still pretty decent. Obviously, you could argue that his base is perhaps more important because he has less bases than Solo, but I don't mind it just yet, as long as he has... I mean, I guess he lost CCs that were trying to build in location there just before, so... yeah, I would like to see ACC come up. He has got an orbital, apparently, from the main base. It's not his main orbital, but it is an orbital that was just over there. It means it's not going to be a planetary in that position, and that's a weakness that Solo could exploit later into this game now. More Bio just down to the center, and he has been doing a pretty decent job of staying on top of a good amount of this creep spread. I wouldn't say the creep has ever been overly kind of reaching past the middle of the map at the very least. Still, middle of the map is good for creep, but see, sometimes you can see it being a much worse case scenario. ByuN's activity has been rewarded in that regard as he aims for the top left base. Going to be lifting back up here. Look at the work accounts, it's been pretty close, 78 to 80-ish, and you can see that Solo's never really been on a huge eco advantage in this game. Like, he's taken spikes, but when you consider what it usually looks like in TVZ, it's definitely actually been a pretty good economy game from ByuN. You know, especially just now that fourth base is back up, he's getting a whole ton of extra CCs built, so they are going to be replacement bases and future bases. They are very important for him to have available to him, so it's good to see ByuN with those. There's a little bling run by here. Is going to get rid of one of those command centers, though. And then Solo will be happy to slow down anything he can as he comes into this position. Very choked up. Goes pretty late to snipe. I feel like the snipes on those Ultras initially were very slow to come in, and that means the Ultras have taken a lot of the other damage that usually would have gone on to the rest of the army when the Ultras are already sniped down. So, yeah, finding that a little bit unfortunate for ByuN. Solo lost a lot there, but he does have money to bound back with, so we'll watch him try and rebound here soon, I'm sure. There's 149 to 144 supply currently in play. As well as the money spent from Solo, and he's going for Corruptors as well, by the way. Doesn't have a great Aspire, just Corruptors to clean out the Medivacs. He feels like the Medivacs are clearly giving ByuN a bit too much value. And if he can clear out the Medivacs, maybe he can actually have a bit of a better time with just efficiency in general. And of course, Corruptors can also threaten with caustic sprays, etc. too, so that's also a factor that we'll be considering here. Drones mining on the eventual Rich Vespene base if the gas got taken there, but ByuN, he's starting to threaten it. He's taking his own fifth down this right-hand side. He's once again dropping the top left as well, and Solo doesn't have much nearby. A few Lings showing up. ByuN is target firing the hatchery, so the Lings don't get hit as they come in, and the hatchery for now will survive as well. And ByuN keep his own fifth base alive. That generally should be a struggle, you would imagine, with Ultras and active units on the map from Solo. Especially as he stretched down the right side, that third base becomes much more open. He lost his sensor tower that was up there from earlier in the game, so watching attacks there will be more difficult. That'd probably be a pretty meaningful rebuild, right? Get the sensor tower back on that base, because now you're focusing on the bottom right. It's just going to become tougher if you're not careful. Here are Lings and Banes to try and blow up this planetary, and will be successful. The last Baneling's getting the job done, able to take that down. 17 minutes here on Star Child, and 17 SCVs just died. It's going to be having ByuN, I think, will struggle to get more bases right now. I feel like this map is... I feel like the thing is, if ByuN wants an easier to take fifth base, you take the 12 o'clock. The problem with taking the 12 o'clock is he clearly wants to be active in this kind of bottom central area, but maybe it wouldn't be so bad for him now to be active in the top. The problem is, I think, if he starts being active in the top, Solar expands to the Rich Vespene base on the bottom. If he does that, ByuN's probably going to feel like he's in a bit too much trouble. I think that's the problem. ByuN is trying to take a base where he wants to fight and keep contesting, but he's not really set up to fight and keep contesting. At least he hasn't been in the previous trades, has he? Ling run by here, and Solo is going to start overrunning on this third base. SCVs will be under fire. 11, 12, 15 workers going down. Ton of damage being done as the SCVs fall. Lings will attach themselves to the depots now, and another big strike from Solar as ByuN's economy is looking really worse for wear. 38 drone SCVs remain. Turn that number around. 83 is the amount of drones Solar sits on. So a huge eco. Now if you look at the income graph, this is what I was talking about. You know those little blips we saw earlier? Well, the little blips early on that graph, those were the huge blips earlier that I was saying wasn't really much, and that's why I was saying it wasn't really much, because it should be so much more, it can be so much more. Corrupt's going to start getting rid of the Medivacs. I think this army of ByuN is maybe out of luck over here. He's just not in a position to rebuild any of this is the problem as well, and the Lings are going to start swarming left over siege tanks toward the tail end. This really is just not much at all for ByuN. He's going to be dipping below 100 supply soon. And a Great Aspire starts as Solar says, oh cool, I'm in a free position to basically get Broodlords up, and how the hell will he ever deal with Broodlords? Yeah, he won't. And it means that you have a way to utilize the Corruptors later on in this game. And that is going to be Solar taking a game number 2 of WardiTV Solar versus ByuN here in the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament Playoffs Quarterfinals. Winner of this series goes to the semis, and only one map away from having that happen is our blue Zerg in the top left from Onside Gaming. This is Solar. In the bottom right corner, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. Alright then, guys, so ByuN's going to open up CC first here again as we go into Babylon. This map is, again, I think for me, getting the reward of prettiest in the TLMC. Said this a lot, but you enjoy this map's aesthetics quite a lot. Outside of the aesthetics, if you guys haven't seen as well, we've got some really cute design. The water feature is probably going to have to be nerfed a bit because they take up a bit too much FPS and stuff. We've got bears holding onto logs, and map's just very pretty in general. Map is kind of fun with a lot of rocks and stuff to move around with in the center and to open up pathways as the game progresses. The initial 2-3 base setup, very standard, very easily defended base, I think is what we've seen in general. This one is obviously chokes into it. It's kind of interesting to take this one because there's a ramp or high ground above it, so it's a little awkward to hold that. Or you can take this one, but that's got a bit more space into it. So neither are like a super easy hold of a third base, but they're not unreasonable to hold either, right? They're a good in-between, I would say, of kind of filling the roles of that, so. CC is going down. And just going to be seeing our orbitals morphing. This time it is double racks again. So for the moment, ByuN just going to go with the same build. Was kind of clearly happy about how it went in the last game. And for the moment, seems to just want to do more of the same. Because, yeah, Ling speed coming up, a lot of Lings on the way from Solar, so he's maybe going to try and threaten a little bit early here. The idea of this attack from Solar is if he's going to play no Hellions, there's not a good way to deal with a flood of Lings if the Marines are caught out of position. So if the Marines are out down on the low ground, if the Marines aren't choked up somewhere, there's no ramp in the main base either. So without walling off that main base ramp, this is particularly strong from Solar. Oh, I'm actually really worried for ByuN. This is not an easy position to defend, because usually your defense here would be keeping your Marines on the ramp and then having the wall off on the high ground to fall back to if needed. He's doing that. He's keeping the Marines on the ramp, but there's not necessarily the way to stop the Lings getting this around anyway, right? So in we go. All these SCVs are going to have to pull to protect these Marines. The Lings are going to get forwards. They're not going to get on top of the Marines, though. That's very important for ByuN. That's game-saving, quite frankly, as... Well, good defense. Lings... Yeah, I mean, Ling's not able to get there. The SCV pull was good, and Solar, but the question mark, is not going to be able to succeed. Well, game-changing defense there from ByuN, as we are going to see the Lings going in for another depot. There's also a situation where sometimes this build can do very well catching like the first two Hellions, and obviously in this case, maybe if you don't get us around the first Marines, the rest of the Marines coming up become very powerful very quickly, right? So it's all about a numbers game, and yeah, in this case, ByuN is able to win out that numbers game, survives the moment he needed to. Solar asks, how did you know? How did you respond so quickly? And then ByuN says, who sends the Overlord on that pathway? Oh, you an idiot. Yep, okay, I mean, these two just having some fun. Solar asking who's 2-0 right now? Yeah. Bit of fun between these two, and yeah, obviously ByuN, like I said, just figuring out, and Solar asking ByuN to leave is... I think Solar might be the one in trouble. Obviously, it's a lot of Lings committed to then not really gain very much early on, so now this push coming across is going to be a bit more powerful. No roaches this time around from Solar. Using them last game, going to play purely Ling Bane this time around. So very different style from him already. Despite the opening from ByuN being very similar, Solar, like I say, going to have that different response to it. Marines coming in, a little bit of creep being denied initially. And we'll just have our lair is coming up. Marines go stepping forward, and a few Lings going to start getting hit by that. The Marines pulling back a little bit. Our Queens are there to try and help out, and our Marines will pull back once more. I mean, this is just good trades from ByuN, and just has so many Marines with this third medevac as well. You really do need the Banelings, and they're just a little bit late to the party. Again, Solar playing behind initially. ByuN's target fire on first Baneling was good. Can he get the rest? Well, he's had pretty much all of the Lings. He gets one of the Banelings now. Finds one target fire, finds another maybe. Really just continue to trade with the Lings. Finally gets one more Baneling. I thought the target fire on the Banes was going to be a bit more prominent there, but it's not like ByuN traded badly. Resources lost is 1.1k in his favor. I mean, ByuN did exactly what he needed to trade out as well as possible. I thought maybe killing the Banes would allow him to stand and fight a bit more, but maybe stepping against the Lings was just as useful anyway, right? The Marines will head down into the center a little bit further. Any extra Marines continuing through, and a couple of Lings still just trying to scatter around. At this point, ByuN would probably like to keep up the pressure if at all possible. Try and keep things moving in his favor. So this doesn't have Baneling speed. This time the target fire was pretty much there. Got 4 of those 6 Banelings. The other couple didn't quite go down, but yeah, again, just removing the Banelings, which is the scariest part of this. Everything else is very manageable. For ByuN, who has a lot of Marines and now starting to get mines as well. Really getting into a very comfortable position. Our Lings are going to run forward one more time, and Marines are going to sit in this little wall off a couple of Banes. One goes down, the other one low HP. That's going to die if a raindrop falls on it. We are losing the SCVs in this base, though. I mean, this is kind of interesting that Solar's having so much success dealing damage anyways. That said, I feel like it's one of those cases where Solar's invested a lot to do this, and even though he's finding some success, it's not exactly great because he's actually down heavily on upgrades. He's down a lot of army supply, and might actually still be in too much trouble to be okay overall. Marines is going to be loading up, and we'll be boosting through to the top side of the medevacs, and just going to see how wouldn't mind our Marines, our medevacs back at home, some of them being left. Just going to start dropping a little bit, start harassing, maybe get rid of some of this creep spread here and there. Looks like Solar might have spotted this drop. He's moving in towards the main base. That does seem to be ByuN's plan, but he can also drop here. I was going to say, to me that was the more obvious position to run to, but I guess ByuN has the choice, so Solar just knows if he cancel that base, he'd rather protect the main base fully if it comes to that. Marines come in, a couple of drones go down. Our other Banelings want to run forward. We're going to load up. Good Widow Mine finds a good cluster of units there. Then we'll unload here again, loads back up. Just again, a couple kills, and then resetting essentially. Widow Mine is going to get cleaned up here as well. The medevacs continue out to the top. I'm just going to be seeing our Marines and medevacs continue back along the left now. Starting to see the FPS struggles a little bit on the map, guys. Again, this map has been one that we noted as a little bit of a FPS struggle, and especially on a TVZ when there's creep spread in play, sometimes the FPS drops a bit, which I think a couple of you noticed in the chat. So you've seen Marines splitting this pressure continue, and obviously ByuN just has an army supply lead, and he's continuing to utilize it as best as he can. He's got units from the top side still, remember, too. And yeah, just finding a couple of units here and there, constantly making Solar's life difficult. Solar is permanently in a state of just trying to play catch-up, trying to catch, you know, get a few more units on the map. All of this, all of that. That is kind of Solar's position in this game. There's not much more to be said about it. And he's kind of just hoping ByuN makes a mistake when he's playing like this, hoping that ByuN misses a lift up on one of these medevacs, leaves some units behind, lets Solar take a better fight than he should be allowed to have. Marines will come through and just going to be having a feelings chasing those Marines down once again. Ling Bane will resettle here. We get the medevacs boosting up to the top. through a set of rocks once again. He is just picking away at that. The rest of our Marines are pressing forward and trying to take a fight, but we're kind of on creep in the middle here. Some Widow Mines initially do decently, but can we save these Marines from the Banelings? Yes, we can, but boy, it was a close call. That got a little bit scarier than it was initially looking as though it should be. A Widow Mine there catches a few more Lings again. Sola's on his way to an infestation pit, looking towards a hive, where he might be able to get toward Lurkers as well. The Lurker didn't actually try to go down here, just got blocked. So we'll be trying to establish that, and we know Sola with Lurkers can be a terrifying player to go up against and has had good success this game so far with the aid of Lurkers, or the series so far with the aid of Lurkers. No concussive shells from ByuN. A small thing to be missing out on, but sometimes can get you a few extra unit kills here and there, so can sometimes make a bit of a difference. And on the top side, getting rid of a little bit more creep spread. The few Banes are rolling in immediately. Medivacs load up those Marines, evacuate them out of there. Bioforce will come pressing forward, and this creep spread is going to be in a bit of trouble. So creep spread's starting to go down. These Banes trying to roll through. Marines are fighting back, backing away. Just going to see the rest of the Ling Bane coming forward. Widow Mines continue to go off here. A lot of the Marauders tanking in the front, and our Marines are doing a fantastic job as well. Really doing wonderful as we come in once more. Ling's still taking damage. A Baneling going down. A couple of Banelings going down and continuing to fight here. Ling's still dropping. Queens and Hydra's in a lot of trouble at this stage, no? Couple Lings coming through. Just going to see our Medivacs through the top getting shot at. I think at this point, ByuN has way too much, and Stola is going to have to type out GG's and give up this first game of this series. ByuN finally gets to the scoreboard. Took a little while, but we get there, and it is going to be a 1-0. So I really appreciate it, as we'll go in game and intro some players quickly, shall we? In the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player is ByuN. And finally onto the scoreboard, keeping this series alive, as he takes on the top right, Blue Zerg from Onside Gaming, Sola, here for map number 4. Now, last game obviously didn't start well at all for Sola, with the Ling investment that just really didn't go his way, didn't do enough. Obviously, ByuN really kept up the pressure from there and was just trading so well throughout. Never really let Sola breathe after the game started off the way it did. Thank you again for the 1500 bits, thank you again for the £5, and thanks for supporting the stream today, guys. Really do appreciate it, as we, I can say, been grinding this week. Big week of StarCraft from us. A lot of games, lots of StarCraft. And gonna try and keep it going next week as well. We got lots going on. Hatchery onto the natural, so hatch, gas, and pool will get set up here initially. Drone on the way out. Reaper, orbital, everything pretty normal this game. Obviously no CC first, as we've been seeing the last couple of maps, so that part is a little different. This map is another short one. I actually think we're going to play 2 more rush maps here as well. If the last map is also played, if we go to Game 5, it's also one of the shorter maps in the map pool, so that's very intriguing, actually. Would be very cool to see. Some shorter maps continue to be played. Sola has had success in some of the shorter maps so far. We went on Armistice, of course. That's one of the shorter, rushy maps as well. Just going to hop up into the natural. Going to start picking its way through a drone or two. So a little bit of damage being dealt. Getting some damage done. Things taking some shots. And just going to see the Reaper coming back around and, again, continue to nibble away through those Zerglings at the moment. So, doing a decent job of it, like I say, getting some shots off. And we do see a third CC on the way up from ByuN, so getting that started. So it's still playing a pretty eco-focused game, ByuN, obviously with a third CC coming into play. Going straight in toward that. Reaper will start a fight against the Queen at the front. The Queen coming forwards, and the Reaper is out of there. Oh, a little bit scary though, didn't it? Low HP and yeah, just now escaping out over to the right-hand side. So escaping out to the right. We have our Lings in the main base. A little bit of creep spread still pushing forward. Nice peaceful opening here on our home. This has been one of the pleasantly just solid maps in the rush category in this event as well. Consistently giving us some pretty reasonable games, and we had some actual really fun games, even TVCs in this map earlier in the event too, so yeah, it's definitely been a fun one to be watching out for and keeping track of. Grenade there, bopping a queen around, couple of Hellions going to come back up towards the top, and it's going to see the queens getting there straight away to keep those Hellions pinned back as well. So Hellions and the Reaper pushed away a few moments. The Marine's going to go after that Overlord. Overlord taking some damage. Now get knocked down, and we are watching our Cloak and our Banshees continuing to play as well here. Guns Tech Lab will be producing. SCV's coming in, the barracks 2 and 3 on the way in. In the end, the Banshee does not have Cloak, it's just a single one. Bit of safety, really, just in case Solar plays Roaches early. But of course, it can still head across the map and try its luck and try and see if it can find some damage in the early stages, and so far, not really. Taking a few hits, weakening up. Obviously means it's unlikely to find a mineral line to latch itself onto. ByuN's actually going to play into 5 racks now, but I guess he's got the 3rd CC, so it's not super aggressive or anything. It's just getting the production ready for that 3 CC economy to kick in the upcoming minutes. The Hellions, a little bit of a tough time for Hellions on this map, I feel like. Especially if you want to go Deny Creep around here, that's quite a large runaround path. I guess from here to here, it's pretty reasonable for the Hellions to ping-pong between Deny and Creep, which is the main pathway we're kind of setting up for, but it's bringing them around this top side. Queens are there. The positioning so far from Solar is good. Good track of this, not letting the Hellions in, not letting a mineral line get roasted too early on. You know, that's something that can very quickly bring an end to these TVCs, of course, so yeah, keeping pretty good track of it for the most part, as we do have more of these Hellions, and the Reaper still in the center, and that's exactly what they're looking for, some actual Creep Tumor kills. They finally get a couple. They've been going without so far. The Banshee's back at home now as well. You know, like you say, it wasn't looking to find any damage. It didn't really have, doesn't have Cloak, so it's limited in what it can do. I love that it just sits back and says, hey, I can be a little bit of a run-by defense or so. I'm not the best at run-by, you know, against Ling Bane, but hey, better than nothing and better than just losing it. The other option for the Banshee maybe would have been like sitting it above a 4th base, just, you know, to watch for the drone coming across when the 4th base builds, but 4th base is already building, right? So I feel like you're already kind of losing out on some of the main ways you could have perhaps utilized that. All of these barracks just continuing down. Lining up quite nicely on that bottom side. As you see, our Hellions will come through, take the watchtower a little bit of Marine stim through the center, and get rid of a couple of Creep Tumors pretty quickly here, and just open up the map a little bit. This is what ByuN was trying to slow down with the Hellions and the Reaper, of course. Yeah, a couple of losses to the Banes, but otherwise lifted up, backing away, and has tanks so close. And ByuN, you know, when you start taking these forward bases, maps like this one become so small so quickly. It's already a short rush distance, right? But then when bases expand toward each other, it just becomes that much shorter. Of course, from here on out, there shouldn't be any more kind of bases going towards each other, really. I guess ByuN can maybe take bottom right and go towards the bottom right of Solar. ByuN mostly, though, is not thinking about a 4th base. He's got 8 racks, I believe, and he is just going to power through for the 8 racks all in. So he's just going to send it. ByuN's just going to go, go, go. He's going to hopefully, in his mind, never stop attacking. Just going to keep this up pretty much permanently. So that is his plan. Both medevacs go up to the northern side, as we do have Marines pressing through the center. A couple of Creep Tumors here and there will start to be picked off. Medevacs going right to the upper right, as you do see. Uh-oh. These Lings, do they have a way out on the top? Not really. Oh god. Yeah, that's not nice. I'm gonna try. Oh, I love the unsiege. Beautiful. I think Solar realized the only thing he can try and do is attack the tanks, that maybe the friendly fire will kill a tank, and at least he gets something out of all of this. But obviously ByuN noticed immediately what he was trying to do, and in that moment he's just like, nope, not a chance. Unsieges the tanks to take that option away. ByuN now already pushing in. Solo's on Hive Tech. He's going to Vipers, he's going to Ultras. This is extremely expensive and honestly extremely greedy considering what ByuN is doing and how aggressive ByuN is being. I mean, if you can get there, brilliant. Those things are going to help you against what ByuN is doing, but can you actually survive until that point? I mean, yeah, now the pressure is absolutely on ByuN to get something done sooner rather than later, but the opening should be wide open. A terrible phrase, but the opportunity should be right there for ByuN to actually do a lot of damage given what Solo is currently doing. Let's see. Ultra Cavern will finish. We'll need kindness playing to really make the Ultras decent. Medivacs in the back at least being cleaned out. ByuN holding a 40 army supply lead right now. Upgrades are going to be finished about the same time as well. Solo doesn't really have the money to afford any sort of additional tech. And with Liberator showing up, I mean, yeah, you can't even really justify going Ultras, can you? The Ultras is going to get shot down hard by the Libs, and we do have a single Viper. As these Banes will go down, I just do not think Solo has enough at all. And I do believe that this game is about to come to a crashing close. As the Ling Vein continues through, but just is not enough. GG is called, and ByuN is going to bring this series right back to a Game 5. We are going to go the whole way. Yes, it's Game 5 time. This is it. One of these players goes to the semifinals. The other, it goes out. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. And the top left, our red Zerg is from the Onside Gaming Squad. It is Solar. And we are here on Pink Moon to decide this series. A rush map with a couple inhibitor zones in the center. This one, despite the slow zones, has been pleasantly surprising as well, I think. I think people say slow zones like, ah, it's gonna be terrible, but no, the map's actually been pretty decent. And has definitely developed into some fun games so far. Let's hope it's a great one for our final game of this series. That's all we could ask for. TKL, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you're doing well, mate. And welcome everybody. We're casting some TLMC Game 5 between Solar and ByuN right now. After this, we've got Clem versus Cure, Winner versus Max Packs as we continue through day 1 of 2 of the playoffs. New maps in the TLMC, so that's why you'll be seeing maps you're not familiar with. Welcome, and hope you guys have a good time as we get this all set up here in Game 5. Let's head down on the natural CC building. It is just once again not a CC first, and yeah, just going to be a Reaper-based expansion from ByuN to start out with. Solar is our last standing Zerg in the tournament as well, so maybe some reason to cheer for him. In case you're looking for someone to cheer for, but you don't really know why. That would be my biased opinion on who to cheer for in this one. Solar's our only Zerg left, so with Solar winning, we might be in with a good shot of a very balanced top 4. Solar loses then. Yeah, probably going to be Terran and Protoss City. We're fighting a few of the Zerglings to start out with. Just going to be seeing a couple Queens on the way out from Solar. And yeah, just a very standard opening, right? It's right slap back down the middle of what you'd expect. Waiting to see a second gas, but probably not going to see one, hence the third CC from ByuN. So yeah, he's just going to play 3 CC, a bit of a macro style once again. See how he can do early, and see how he does kind of advancing on from there as well. Because obviously last game he got a good start, and then he really just ran it home with the 8 racks. So we're losing a lot of those lings on that counterattack. Definitely didn't help with the eventual push of ByuN being a bit too powerful. Again, Solo was definitely being pretty greedy at that point in time as well, being quite committed into getting into Hive Tech, and then again just kind of really double powered ByuN's attack. So we're going to opt for the triangular third base, which is not a terrible choice. Obviously, Zergs typically like to expand linearly to stop the drop here, then drop here sort of situation, but yeah, we'll take the triangle base this time around. Maybe, I wonder how ByuN would deal with this. I mean, because to me, if ByuN takes this base, this push to this third now is very good for him. Especially if, I mean, even with these rocks, the rocks probably help you a bit because they give you a choke point to work in case the Zerg flanks you and stuff, so yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting one. Maybe, I guess, obviously, as well, you can maybe just like this pattern up here to take the 4th base over here as well. So perhaps that's the direction Solo starts to take this into. So a lot of options, a lot of possibilities as a couple of Hellions will press forward. And already going to be seeing the first drone taking a hit of damage and becoming a spore thrower. I feel like this map's also very pretty. I said I really like Babylon as the most kind of like pretty map, I suppose, but then this map also, I don't know what it is. It's like these kind of colors really do it for me. Like they're really nice colors. I feel like we didn't see a lot of Pink Moon as well, so maybe it got like lost compared to Babylon in my head. Especially not a lot of long games on Pink Moon. This map has been a pretty quick affair most of the time so far, so something to keep in mind as well as Hellions will work their way through the center of the map. And well, a few queens here immediately, just going to keep those Hellions at bay. Stimpack coming up about halfway done. Couple of extra barracks in production, engineering bays. All the standard stuff you expect to see. You do have that Liberator coming into the main base to harass. Spore is about to be done in location as well, so great setup from Solar. But the Liberator has actually flown past that position to begin with, and now is sieging in the background. Spore will move, but obviously that's the dance that you play, right? The Spore moves, you get a shot off, the Liberator is relocating. Now the Hellions are going to try and dive in. I feel like that was not a bad opportunity to hit the mineral line, but preferred to go after the Ling count there. Wants to try and shut down the unit count, apparently. Now the Liberator does go down without getting too much else done. I'm surprised that ByuN let it die so quickly. I would have thought ByuN would have been a bit more all over defending that and just continuing to utilize it as much as possible, trying to get everything possible out of it. But obviously, like I say, it doesn't happen. Melee upgrades continuing on the side of Solo then. Pretty much in sync with the upgrades of ByuN. The reason for that is he's playing double Evo, so he's not playing a fast lair, which means he's not playing into quick baneling speed here, so he's not really able to do much else than to just go for the upgrades. So as a stylistic choice, it is a choice as well. You can either play like fast Evo chambers and upgrades, or you can play the lair and the faster bane speed. Generally, you need one or the other to help you deal with some of the Terran aggression early on, so that's what you typically end up seeing. Lines end up going back down the right-hand side to the bottom corner, and just gonna be having ourselves the couple of depots coming down as well. Just continue to create some wall-offs here and there. Queens for the first time from ByuN. Going to try and sync up with these Hellions. Just going to use the Hellions to get rid of a bit of creep on the left-hand side. Keep that 4th base. Sorry, well, there's kind of 2 4th bases. 5th base, maybe. Exposed. Obviously, if it's more exposed, it's more easily pushed into later in the game, so be something to keep in mind as well. We're still just on 5 racks, 3 bases, and waiting to see where ByuN takes it from here. Do we add more racks? Do we just go aggressive? Are we going to be happy to play a longer game? There's our answer. 4th command center going down. ByuN says, let's play the macro game. Not afraid of letting this go long if I need to. It's just going to get that set up pretty much immediately. It's going to be scanning up a little bit and seeing some halberds and marines picking their way through this creep spread. Dropping the main base, going to get past the Spore Crawler, and the Queen should go down here. The Spore might be a target as well to make sure you have an easy exit pathway without taking more damage. Queen didn't end up falling just yet. Bane speed still not done because of the upgrade choice early. And now the Queen will go down. Those drones, I think, are going to be in some trouble if Solo doesn't start dealing with this. The couple of Hellbats still attacking. These Banelings are just having a nightmare. Waddling around slowly, trying to make something happen. ByuN completely controlling the main base right now and taking a massive supply lead off the back of these attacks. Solo losing out on a lot, and is he actually going to lose out on the lair as well in the main? I actually think he loses the main base. That's horrible. I mean, he does have a base in the far bottom left he could use to send the drones to at least, but this is far from ideal as the Lings just reset. They were going for the wraparound. They reset badly. These medevacs have just left as they realize apparently the game is just going to end as there's just attacks happening everywhere. ByuN is going to complete the reverse sweep and take this series 3-2.